All right, this is a recording on Dave Janda's Operation Freedom and Mary Fanning here, validating that Obama testifies in public that he knew that he was performing a criminal act and he could care less.
We're testifying and why it panicked those two criminals.
Now you're talking about Peter Strzok and Sally Yates.
At the FBI.
Well, Peter Strzok texts his putative paramour, Lisa Page, a filthy expletive. He says, "Are you watching, Sally?" And he says, the vile word. He says, "Clapper and Yates, through Graham's questions, are all playing into the there should be an unmasking request, a record for incidental collection, incorrect narrative." In other words, they're not carrying forward the proper lies because they're exposing that that's right, there was no incidental collection record, there was no FISA record. We're caught. They're running off the rails. Not only does he text this to Lisa Page, Peter Strzok then, after the testimony's over, he says, "I'm free if you have a couple of minutes," and I just called your desk, I'm free again. And then within an hour, they go and meet, and then he texts again. He said, "Listen, if you have some time and it's not late, I have a follow-up question for something that you just said, something you said. I know you've got Bill's session right now." So apparently they did meet, and then he has a follow-up question from that meeting. So they're very disturbed of what's just taken place in front of Lindsey Graham in their questioning because they both just blew it. They were both stammering and stuttering and squirming in their seats. And
So maybe Lindsey Graham does have some dirt on these guys. He should if he's doing his job.
And Lindsey Graham said, "I'm going to get to the bottom of this. If there's no FISA record, if there's no documentation of incidental surveillance, then there's more to this, and I will get to the bottom of it."
All right, so maybe Lindsey Graham is going to get some stuff on this. I've always wondered that he was too soft on a lot of things. Maybe he's just getting some hard evidence before he files criminal activity. But someone needs to get some nerve up and file criminal activities on the Obama administration and his staff.
And then we go to this meeting at the White House on January 5th, 2017, when Sally Yates realizes that Obama at this meeting is talking about information related to the General Flynn Russian Kislyak's phone calls, and that he had to have obtained this through an illegal surveillance platform outside of the NSA.
Outside of the NSA, and talked previously, Dave Janda talked previously that this was the hammer. The system, the hammer, through the CIA, which is illegal.
Outside of incidental contact picked up through the FISA, she states on the record that she's so taken back by this she couldn't even comprehend the rest of the conversation because she was just so distraught.
Because
she was
he's
distraught.
Exposing. Yeah.
Why was she distraught, Mary?
Because he's exposed himself that he had gotten it by illegal means.
That Obama had gotten this by illegal means, the CIA hammer system. And the CIA cannot spy on American citizens. It's a foreign spying system. It's not supposed to be used. It's unconstitutional. It's a felony to do so. Yet the CIA has repeatedly done so.
There was nothing to back up where he had gotten this from, so he has just exposed that he is spying on the incoming administration, their national security advisor. They are.
I'm here to tell you about Zubu facial coverings.
So this means Obama, with Brennan, CIA director, was using a hammer illegally, and Brennan is deep into this as his eyebrows gets, and was partner with Obama in spying against Trump using CIA tools, the hammer. Illegal, totally illegal, total felonies. Those two should be in jail.
A spying campaign on the duly elected president and his national security advisor.
All right, we're going to edit this and go into a little more part on this. I'll follow up with Dave Janda. Hold on. All right, so why is Obama panicked? He's admitted illegal surveillance, and it deals directly with Flynn.
So if there are visual issues with lighting, I know, I'm sorry, but it is what it is. Why Obama's panicked? Well, number one, on this past Sunday's Operation Freedom radio show, I hosted one of the best investigative journalists in the country, Mary Fanning. And Mary Fanning presented a timeline that is absolutely critical for you to know now and for what's coming in the future. And it's about what the real topic is today of our presentation. What we did is we took that interview from Sunday's show that's available for our subscribers on podcast, and the subscribers asked that I put that on YouTube. And that's what we did yesterday. If you haven't listened to it, you need to. Because it's what Obama is panicked about. This is why he's off the rails, making phone calls to his, quote, alumni group, and the nonsense he was spewing there. And what he spewed at this graduation goat rodeo thing he did. It's about 2 words why he's panicked. Illegal surveillance. And another 3 words. General Michael Flynn. Now, I'm not a big one for defense funds, but I have repeatedly donated to General Flynn's defense fund. And I know times are tough, but when you have the ability to do so, even it's $1, every dollar that's donated is a hit against the deep state. MikeFlynnDefenseFund.org. Or you can just go to DaveJanna.com, and if you go to the right-hand side of the home page, little way down on the right-hand side, there's a link to Mike Flynn Defense Fund. Hit that. Even if it's $1. Whatever you can afford. It's well worth it, because it's not only the defense of General Flynn, he's representing every American. And in defending not just his freedom, but your freedom, my freedom, every American's freedom. Because this is a concerted attack, not just on him, but on every American's freedoms. And this is why the deep state is so panicked. They're panicked because General Flynn is going to be a free man. Bottom line is, he and his family have been political prisoners for almost 4 years. 4 years. They never anticipated, the deep state never anticipated, that the truth would come out that we're going to speak about today and have been speaking about for years. But they never anticipated it would gain traction. They never anticipated that General Flynn, his family, his phenomenal attorney, Sidney Powell, would have the perseverance, the dedication, the sacrifice, and the courage to keep this going, to relentlessly hold the deep state's feet to the fire of truth and freedom. And that's what they've been doing. And that's why they're all desperate and panicked.
This is 4 years. Sidney Powell deserves a Congressional Medal of Honor or whatever highest award you can give her. She deserves it. And so does Flynn. He needs to be remunerated. He needs to be acquitted. And he needs to be held as a great American hero again.
In particular, Obama, Brennan, and Clapper. The 3 amigos
the Three Stooges of the illegal surveillance. Remember, we brought this forward on the Operation Freedom platform on March 19th, 2017, when General McInerney, with the support of Admiral Ace Lyons, brought the information forward that Donald Trump, General Flynn, and tens of thousands of Americans were illegally being surveilled. Not just through the NSA platform. Look, that's old news. Two very good friends of mine who we have a number of presentations on this platform, Bill Binney and Kirk Wiebe, the two foremost experts, underlying experts in the world in surveillance platforms. Not some guys who are shooting their mouth off because they think they know something, but they don't have any degrees or experience behind their belts when it comes to surveillance platforms. But Bill and Kirk created them. Bill was the technical director of the NSA. Can't get any higher than that. And Bill and Kirk left in 2001 the NSA and became whistleblowers. And one of the reasons was because they were saying, look, the NSA is abusing that platform and illegally harvesting information, phone calls, emails, internet activities, financial transactions of Americans. It's unconstitutional. They paid a price. Robert Mueller, who was then the director of the FBI, sent agents into their homes with guns drawn to try to shut them up. Bill and Kirk were talking about that in 2001, 19 years ago. Yet today there are people out there that say, oh, the abuse was only on the NSA platform. It was just with 702s. Well, that occurred. But it wasn't just. It was a tip of the iceberg. And anyone that ignores the other illegal surveillance that has been occurring is giving a pass to Obama and Brennan and Clapper and the deep state and everyone and anyone associated. No. We need to hold the people at the NSA responsible that were abusing that platform. We've always said that. Bill and Kirk put their lives on the line 19 years ago on that, and they still do today. But as Bill and Kirk have stated, and if you want to hear them directly, go on this YouTube channel to the very top featured interview, where Bill and Kirk speak about the fact that, yeah, there are other illegal surveillance platforms, so-called parallel platforms. Platforms where when you're digging up information on people, there's no reporting system internally in that system. And that these parallel platforms, one of which is called the Hammer, has been used to harvest information to coerce and blackmail and control American citizens, including individuals in our government. That's why Obama is panicked. Because finally, these illegal surveillance platforms outside of the NSA platform have gained traction. And the data, as it's been declassified, is coming forward. And General McInerney and Admiral Lyons had the courage on March 19, 2017 to come on an Operation Freedom radio show and give everybody a 3+ year heads up. This came out from Greg Jarrett recently. Obama knew details of wiretap Flynn phone calls. Surprising top Department of Justice officials in a meeting with Biden, declassified documents show. President Obama was aware of the details of then incoming National Security Advisor Michael Flynn's intercepted December 2016 phone calls with then Russian Ambassador Sergei Kislyak, apparently surprising then Deputy Attorney General Sally Yates on January 5, 2017, when President Obama spoke about it at a meeting at the White House. This according to documents released on May 7th, 2020, as exhibits to the government's motion to dismiss the Flynn case. Now you should ask yourself, Sally Yates, she is not a Girl Scout. She was involved with the National Security Division of the Department of Justice. As Mary Fanning has pointed out, when she got there, Sally Yates, in April of 2015, one of the first things she did is she blocked the Inspector General Michael Horowitz from access on a permanent basis to the National Security Division of the Department of Justice and what they were up to. Boo. Sally Yates is not a Girl Scout. She's a swamp rat extraordinaire. So listen to what Greg Jarrett said, that surprising Deputy Attorney General Sally Yates is surprised, it shocked her, that Obama was talking about this conversation between General Flynn and the Russian ambassador Kislyak, which was purely legal, and absolutely legal because General Flynn, this is in the transition period at that time, December 2016, was the incoming national security advisor to Donald Trump. Why would Yates, this swamp rat, be shocked by that, surprised by that, have her breath taken away by that, to the point where she couldn't even concentrate on the rest of the conversation she was having with Obama? Why? Let's get to it. Obama's unexpectedly intimate knowledge of the details of Flynn's calls, which the FBI acknowledged at the time were not criminal or even improper, raised eyebrows because of his own history with Flynn, and because top FBI officials secretly discussed whether their goal was to get Flynn fired when they interviewed him in the White House on January 24th, 2017. On January 5th, 2017, Yates attended an Oval Office meeting with then FBI Director James Comey, then Vice President Joe Biden, then CI Director John Brennan, then Director of National Intelligence James Clapper, according to the newly declassified documents, including a 302 FBI witness report. They were discussing Russian election interference along with National Security Advisor Susan Rice and other members of the National Security Council. After the briefing, Obama asked Yates and Comey to, quote, stay behind, end quote. Whoa, be careful, boys and girl. And said he had, quote, learned of the information about Flynn, end quote. How did he learn about that? How? We're going to get to that in a minute. In his conversation with Russian ambassador about sanctions, Obama specified that he didn't want any additional information. Ooh, no, my hands are already dirty. I don't want more dirt. Red Jarrett goes on. At that point, the documents recently released by the government and declassified showed, quote, Yates had no idea what the president was talking about, but figured it out based on the conversation. Oh, she figured it out all right. She knew for a fact that there were no unmaskings of General Flynn's phone call with the Russian ambassador through the NSA. No. She figured it out all right. That Obama had gotten that information from an illegal surveillance source. Quote from the documents. It was not clear to Yates from where the president first received the information. She was so surprised by the information she was hearing that now remember, this is a swamp rat, not a Girl Scout, that she was having a hard time processing it and listening to the conversation at the same time, end quote. Yates would later say that she was concerned based on the information and how it was obtained that Flynn would be vulnerable to blackmail.
They threatened Flynn's son. They threatened Flynn's family. Yeah, that's what they wanted. What could they put the screws on Flynn with? How can we destroy him politically, emotionally, financially? That's how nice this group is, Obama and his group. Brennan, Clapper, Yates, and more. It's Roger Martin from Billings, Montana. This is Operation Freedom by Dave Janda, who gives us better information than most, in details, years ahead of most. You can subscribe to Operation Freedom with Dave Janda. Good day.